Welcome back to the dark side of Reddit. Stories that will haunt your thoughts. Someone asked, "What is the scariest thing you've ever seen in your life that you can't explain?" Someone replied, "About 25 years ago, my now former wife and I were caretaking a house. We had been there for several weeks and we both noticed that we always had that feeling coming up the stairs from the cellar that something was going to grab you as soon as you turned the light switch off. Everything else about the house was normal. We slept with an analog wind-up alarm clock next to the bed, the kind that actually ticks. To set the alarm, you move a tiny third hand to the location on the clock face for the desired time. For example, halfway between 6 and 7 to awaken at 6:30. It's a physical process, and there is very little way to get it wrong. We always had the clock set to wake us up at 6 a.m. It was not something we fiddled with on a daily basis. One night, the alarm clock went off at like 2 in the morning. Old school ringing bells. Both my former wife and I woke up absolutely terrified. I saw a small figure maybe 2 feet tall run out of the room. I thought I must have been crazy until my former wife screamed, "Did you just see that thing?" We both described it as some sort of small gremlin. When we looked at the alarm clock, we saw that the alarm hand had been moved from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. That's the whole story. Scared the fuck out of me. Have no explanation for it. Nothing else ever happened there, but the cellar feeling persisted. Another person answered, "Once, I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of my bedroom door creaking open. I could see the outline of someone standing there, but when I turned on the light, there was no one there. The door was still slowly closing, as if whoever or whatever had been there was leaving." Even creepier, my Nest fire alarm had illuminated in the corridor, sensing movement, but there was nobody there. Still gives me chills thinking about it. Another answer, "It didn't happen directly to me, but it happened to my dad while I was a toddler. My parents' bedroom and mine are connected by a long hallway. You could see directly into one other room just by staring at the door of the other. So we being kids, we equals my brothers and me shared the same room. Our parents arranged their bed so they could lay in their bed and easily look across the hallway into our room. So one night, my dad stares into our room from his, and he noticed that from inside our room on the top side of the doorframe, some ugly dark face upside down like a lizard on a wall was peeping from our room, staring back at my dad across the hallway. He, being skeptic, thought he was just seeing stuff, until my mom asked, "Did you just saw that thing from the kid's room?" My dad instantly sprinted into our room only to find nothing there. That only happened that one time as far as I know. Answer was rather long per. I've seen some pretty wild stuff in my life, but most of it is explainable. The one event that comes to mind was witnessed by my dad, brother and myself, and it's a two-part encounter, but I still consider it one event. This is a bit long and I apologize, but I feel it might be worth the read. It was around 1998. My family and I had just moved into an old clapboard house on the edge of town. It had a huge backyard with a 6-foot wooden privacy fence on one side, and a metal chain link fence about 4.5 feet high around the other 3 sides of the yard. Neighbors on one side, the privacy fence side, a small grass alley that ran behind the back with a street light, and then another yard, etc. Our bedroom was an old converted sunroom on the back of the house that faces the backyard. It had floor-to-ceiling windows all along the back wall looking into the backyard. We didn't have many options as to where to place our bed, so my headboard was against the windows and my brother's bed was about 8 feet away with his headboard against the opposite wall with the foot of the bed facing the windows. One night we were up pretty late. I was in my bed and he was in his, just talking about random things when suddenly he got quiet. I figured he fell asleep, but then I heard him whispering in a shaky breath. So I'm like, "What?" And I hear him whisper again. So again I'm like, "Speak up, I can't hear you," and he goes, "Don't move and be quiet," in a forced whisper, but I thinking he's messing with me and like, "Bitch, why?" And I'm looking at him, and mind you, my head is to the windows and he's pointing into the backyard behind my bed. So quickly sit up and turn around and see this huge dog head staring almost nose to glass through the window right behind my bed. I'm almost nose to nose with this thing. Just a single pane of glass and about 10 inches of empty air separate me for this thing. Now when I say I screamed, I mean I screamed. Not my proudest moment, but hey, I was like 10 years old. Well, anyways, the thing quickly ducked under the window and then ran to the side of the yard and jumped the 4.5 feet chain link fence and bolted off into the darkness. My dad came running into the room with our mom right on his heels. We were able to get out that something was looking through our window, so dad ran back to his room and grabbed his shotgun and then headed out the side door of the house and into the backyard. Unfortunately or fortunately he didn't find anything. Wrote it off as I had a nightmare and my brother wouldn't admit to seeing anything, so I took the blame and was told to quit messing around, go back to bed. Typical parent response, etc. Well, later that night, maybe an hour or so after, I begged my parents to let me sleep in the living room because leaving the house wasn't an option, and still being refused, I was made to sleep in my room. So again, my brother and I are in our room with these floor-to-ceiling windows. We are just completely rattled. We are both huddled in his bed staring out the windows when we see this thing come walking along the chain link fence on all fours, and the fence only comes up to its mid-shoulder, so this thing is huge. It sniffs the ground, does a few circles, and then hops the fence into the backyard like it's nothing. It walks over to the window and again gets nose to the glass like it's trying to see in. We are panicking the whole time. Well, my brother is like, fuck this, and soon as he steps off the bed we hear this loud bang and there is a flash of light. The thing at the windows gets knocked sideways and, without even missing a beat, it turns and runs across the full length of backyard, jumps the back chain link fence. It cleared the fence, the alleyway, and then landed in the back neighbor's yard. This is easily a 1520-foot jump minimum, clearing their fence like it was nothing, and was gone at a dead run up beside that house and off into the darkness on the other side. My dad comes tearing around the side of the house with his shotgun in hand and makes a mad dash for the side door and slams it shut behind him. He is screaming and hollering, "We gotta go." We pack up and head to a hotel that night. My mom absolutely refused to believe we saw what we said we saw, and we only lived there for about 6 months. It rattled my dad so much he didn't even want to come back. He told my mom that we were just gonna move that next day, but she wouldn't allow it. After about 6 months, she conceded and we moved. Mind you, this is in the coastal plains region of Texas. We have no large wild canines here. We have stray dogs and coyotes, but nothing that would even remotely touch on how big this thing was. My dad swears he shot that thing with a slug from about 15 feet away with his 12-gauge shotgun right underneath its left arm, hitting it in the ribs where its vital organs are, and nothing, it just ran off. He said the thing that freaked him out the most was that when he saw the thing jump the fence, it walked towards our window, crouched but still on its hind legs. It wasn't walking on all fours. And then when it got to our window, it stood up straighter, and he could tell that while it looked like a dog, its body was shaped wrong. He said it looked like a really stocky person wearing a dog suit, but he could tell it wasn't a suit. Also, that when it was walking in circles sniffing the ground before coming into our yard the second time, it wasn't actually sniffing the ground like for a scent. It was staring at our window with its face to the ground, like it was acting like it was sniffing the ground, almost as if it was playing a part to see if anyone would notice it. He said he's had dogs his whole life and everything about what it was doing was wrong. A while later, I asked my dad why he was in the backyard, if he thought I was having a nightmare, and he told me my brother is the one that gave it away. He said with how panicked I looked that my brother was almost white as a sheet and wouldn't take his eyes off the window. He said your brother has never looked so scared and never been one with just making stuff up. So after going back to his room with my mom as he was laying there thinking about it, he decided that if my brother was a white as he was, then we had to have seen something. So he grabbed his gun in case he had to scare some creeper out of our yard, and figured he was gonna go through the garage and out by the far side of the house and sneak to the corner to see if someone was peeking in our windows or if someone was actually messing with us. He never actually thought we saw a huge dog-looking thing, just that. Maybe with it being dark outside and us being kids with overactive imaginations, maybe we just mistook someone as something. But when he saw that thing come up the side fence and with the street light in the back alley lighting up the backyard, he saw it and it freaked him out. He was gonna creep back inside until it went up to our window, and he said as it stood up he just got this instant feeling of just dread, like something was gonna happen to us. The next answer: so in college I studied in the UK. I lived in a house with a group of other American students that had stories of the ghost of a girl who passed away while living there. I never believed in any of it, but it was fun to play along. The kitchen had one way in and out, and right after you entered the kitchen, to your right was a padlocked door to the cellar where she allegedly lived. I had the only key. We were all a little homesick near Thanksgiving, so decided to do a meal together. This required some creative cooking schedules due to small appliances in the kitchen. So one girl who didn't have class the next day offered to stay up late to get the turkey going. We went into the cellar, the first and only Time that evening to get larger cooking implements. At 2:04 in the morning, I wake up to my door rattling, like someone was pushing against it. I assumed it was a housemate who just went to the wrong door. About 30 seconds later, when I hear a scratchy female voice softly saying hello, every 5 seconds or so, my window was open, and it sounded like it was coming from outside. So I get up to close my window as I assume it's some drunk girl walking back from the pub. I get to the window, and there's no one there, and then I hear hello, clear as a bell behind me. My door rattles again, and goes silent. I've had night terrors before, and hallucinate when I have even a mild fever, so I assume I'm still asleep and lay back down. The next morning at 7 a.m., the girl who's cooking tells me I had the creepiest night. At 1:50 I heard footsteps coming up the cellar stairs. Then the door rattled. Then at 10 the door rattled again and I heard footsteps coming down. She told me this before I had said anything to anyone about what I'd experienced. Till the next mystery. See you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe.